I'm trying to figure I was ready.
Action!
Hi, it's Red Summer.
And it's Hanifa Walida.
And we are your gay aunties. Hey, baby.
Hey, darlings.
We working it out, okay? We get it.
Diligently.
Oh, we're so excited to be here with you all again this week in podcast land and in YouTube land, wherever you are watching us. We are so excited to engage with you on this day. For those of you all who are just joining us, we want you to know that Your Gay Aunties is a weekly podcast that is centered around queer adulting. So if you want Auntie Hanifa and I to answer any questions that you have about life or love or any other life experiences, tap us on the shoulder at yourgayaunties@gmail.com, or you can DM us on Instagram or Twitter at yourgayaunties.
Yes. We everywhere. We try to be anyway. We try
Yeah,
to be anyway, you know.
absolutely. And one of the places that we are is iTunes, right? So, one thing that we used to do and that we haven't done a lot that I'm glad we're getting back to is reading the reviews that we have on iTunes. Yay!
Yay! Hold on. I got applause. I got applause. Yay! You don't hear it, but don't worry about it.
I do. So, the first one that we have is from Unrelated Missy. She says, "Hey, aunties, found y'all through Queer Walk podcast,
Hey,
and
Queer Walk.
yes, we love them, love them. I've introduced you all to my podcast friends, and thank you for existing. I love the show, and I'm patiently waiting for my weekly doses. You give great advice, and I really like the queer music review. Thank you,
Okay.
Unrelated.
Yeah, we like that too, and we're gonna have more of that coming at you in the soon future. That's the thing, right? The soon future. But like we said, we are trying to come at you guys as many ways as we can. And this past Wednesday was the debut of Auntie Red's Tweet Tea. This was the work and inspiration from one of our interns to get Auntie Red on Twitter, making it happen. So she did. Right. So every Wednesday at 6 p.m., Auntie Red is going to be on Twitter because that is the day that the show drops. So you
Mhm.
guys can kiki and tweet with Auntie Red, or just throw us some questions Joey wanted to ask. So like there was this question that somebody asked I thought was really cool. It was how did art help you define or discover your sexuality?
Mm.
Right? And I was like, okay, put the art in the how did I find love it. And I love how you answered it. Auntie Red said, I attended a writer's workshop and the teacher said we don't always write what we know. Sometimes we write to find out. I love that. Sometimes we write to find out, not just writing what we think we know about life.
Yeah.
And I love how you say I use that to help me figure out my feelings around identity, sexuality, and my place in society when I felt lost or confused. Trusting the pen to paper, baby. The
Yeah.
pen to paper is a beautiful thing. So if you guys want to tweet it up, chat it up, tweet it up, flip it up, what I
Tweet
don't
it
know,
up.
tweet
Tweet it
it
up.
up, tweet
Tweet it
it
up.
up. Have some tweet tea with Auntie Red at hashtag Auntie Red tweet tea at your gay aunties on Twitter. Wednesdays, 6 p.m. when the episode drops. And remember, that's a way to get live with us on Wednesday. And on Sunday is how you're live with us today on YouTube. All right, so you always live.
Right.
You're live right now, right now, right now, right now.
Exactly. I love it. I love it. So, listen, we have a new addition to the show,
Mm-hmm.
and it is your auntie's bags of gems.
Auntie's bags. Cause listen, we've been trying. We have the letters, we have all these different ways that we want to reach out and engage with our young people, and it was like it's all gems. It's just all
Yeah.
gems. So let's go into our auntie bag. Me and maybe my pocket, but we gonna dig somewhere. You know what I'm saying? What was that ludicrous joint you said? What was that?
Which got up in that bag? What
What
you
you
got
got
in
up
that
in that
bag?
bag?
Yes.
So that's what we're going to be doing. The first half of the show is finding things in our auntie bag that we think you guys would enjoy. All
Mm-hmm.
right.
What's
You want
yours?
no, no, you first, right? Did we say you first? Oh
What?
no, me first, me first. My phone went to sleep, so I didn't. I had to wake it up. I had to wake it up. Okay, so me first. All right, y'all. So, what I got up in my bag today is I had to go way back because I've been feeling a certain kind of way. I've been feeling almost like this, touching the teenager in me that started to first get militarized, and I just want to kill everybody because it's just
Mm-hmm.
like madness out here, right? And so being in that mood, of course, the way the algorithms work and they listen to us on our phones and they know what we're thinking and feeling, someone drops an old footage of a Phil Donahue episode. For those who don't know, Phil Donahue was, there was a time when all talk shows were just white men.
Mm.
And then Oprah came along,
Yeah.
one of the many reasons why you can't be so quick to diss people. But anyway, so Oprah killed Phil Donahue. But before this happened, Phil was trying his best. So he had this big race show on. It wasn't any race show like white people and black people talking to each other. It was black people talking to each other about race, headed up by this white man. So here's this clip with Sister Soldier, who was this incredible figure in the mid 80s. And she just really moved me so much back then because I never saw a sister talk the way she did in the 80s to
Yeah.
these Negroes. All right, so here let's go to Sister.
Among other things, and he's not claiming to be particularly original with the observation, we can't get there unless we go together. I have a terrible feeling that behind me are some people who do not agree.
Senator, excuse me, Senator Bradley of the all-white United States Senate said we can't get there unless we all go there together. Sorry, none of us are where he is. That's number one. Number two, you're making a moral appeal to a country that doesn't have a moral conscience. The question becomes that when white people feel serious and angry and upset about abortion, they come out in the thousands up to the millions to say, this is what we believe about abortion. Where is the white outcry against white racism that murders African people all around this entire globe? It doesn't exist. So who are these white good people? I want to meet them. I want to see them. A few is not enough.
But that might be all we can get.
No. And guess what? I don't work with all I can get. What I work with is what I have. Listen, you have to have some confidence in the power of African people amongst ourselves to establish a foundation.
We have.
We have. We have utter chaos in our cities, and you've got
There's
to
no
see
black
that.
institution we
You
can build?
can have a program. I'm not saying we've built a lot of institutions, and those
Sure.
institutions have not been effective. The majority of millions of African youth in this country are dying mentally, dying spiritually, dying emotionally, dying academically, and you may have a program, Mr. Brown may have a program, but what we got to talk about is an American government that tracks millions of African people who don't go to your program, don't go to Brown's program, millions of African people, not only here, but all around the world, and if we are not honest enough to say who are our friends, who are our enemies, to know what a friend is, to know what an enemy is, we will constantly be trying to get into people's parties, to shake our butts with them, to get them to like us, and that's not the question. The question is, what can we build amongst ourselves to secure ourselves from our enemies so that we will be able to survive into the future?
Mayor Kelly. Mayor.
It's enough to know that if I walk out Washington, D.C. tonight, some black kid in
Right there.
Mm.
Listen, Sister, so he was like iconic to a time, right? A Public Enemy time. We were all hip hop and militarized out. It was very more nationalist leaning, but she was someone that shut Cornel West up. Tony Brown, him, Cornel West. I never forgot that Phil show.
Yeah.
They were like, this niggers. And there was the point that Cornel West was like, what you mean that people that came before you, like, she was going on. She was like, nah, none of y'all Negroes ain't put me where I was. Nah, Let me be very perfectly clear, because
Yeah.
it was like two different ways of thinking, around just black politics for the time, and they had them go head to head. Of course, this white man had them go head to head, and it was just bananas. Do you remember that show? Remember that episode at all?
Like, yeah, I want to revisit it, like see the whole show, because that's amazing.
I don't really hear you for some reason.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, so I was saying that I don't really remember the show like offhand. I do want to revisit it so I can, see where we are now versus like what was going on at the time.
Yeah, I know, and I think that what it is that I think, every, like, we were young, we were like teenagers then, every generation, has, their fire stick, or generation has that fire in them. And I think what sometimes is lost is that, people get older, they make different decisions, they do what they do, they move on, or their revolution starts to transform into other things. But then another younger generation comes in, they got that fire, and sometimes it's like, oh, but y'all didn't have fire the way we have fire. Or or they think that the older generation didn't have fire at any point. I don't know. I don't know. There's a lot of things that are going on. I just wanted to go into my bag and let you know that there was a time when we just didn't give a fuck either.
I think that's the mark of the youth, right? Is the not give a fuckness of the
We
time.
need y'all to not give a fuck. Every generation needs the youth to do that. Like, okay, we can play these little academic games, but I'm gonna squarely put my foot in your ass because y'all talking bullshit for real. Anyway, so that is my little gem that was up in my bag. Sister Soldier from back in the days.
Yeah.
Not to nitpick on her, is not trying to unpack, well, she can talk about this, she can talk about that. Well, no, I'm talking about the moment in time that she lived. We're trying to bring you into these moments and times to help so we can better understand each other in our generation. So Sister Soldier was like the shit for me back in the days.
Definitely for me too.
Yes.
Definitely.
Shut Negroes down. Mm-hmm.
So for me, and let me pull it up, I have the incomparable Pat McCombs. So if you have not heard of Pat McCombs, I will say being a young gay in Chicago, Mama Pat, Auntie Pat was like the standard, right?
Uh-huh.
She started basically the lesbian party scene in Chicago. And so there is one party that I want to call her and ask her about it, because 70s she started the Aquarius at the time. They would have house parties, right? And then she connected with a gay man in Chicago and another woman, and they started this party called Quality Is. And they would do 3 parties a year, and they would be like these huge events for the LGBT community. And then she hooked up with Vera. So Pat and Vera's parties, like by the time I came around, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, like this, people were still talking about how cool the executive suite parties were. So Pat and Vera, they would basically get dressed up in their business clothes, like not even like their Sunday, like super fly, right? They would get dressed up in business suits, and they would go around to different places, and they would advocate to have a girl party at the place, like whatever the hottest places were. And so Executive Suite was pretty much like a traveling girl club. And they would send out a newsletter to let you know, like whoever was on their mailing list, where the party was going to be everybody got the newsletter. Everybody came out, and it was just like the staple in Chicago.
Woo.
So
That was a
Pat would come.
lesbians on the couch, right? You said.
Yes. So right, the one that I wanted to find out about was Lesbians on the Couch because that was like a house party type of deal. And it was just something that I heard. Somebody was like, "Oh yeah, I know such and such back from the Lesbian on the Couch days." I'm like, "All right, cool." Like, I would put a pin in that one. I want to hear about the Lesbians on the Couch days. So just big up to Mama Pat for the work that she did for making sure that lesbians had a safe space to party
Mm-hmm.
in the cities in the 70s and 80s up until powwow in the 2000s. Like Mama Pat was still going strong, making sure that lesbians were able to have community in the city.
Ooh. I mean, I first met Pat, at Mitch, and it's like that she was a part of that whole Chicago family that I felt just
Yeah.
welcomed us
Mhm.
non-Chicagoans in, but we could come through the wow, and she had the women of
Yeah.
color tent, and it was just like, yeah, Pat is just like, and just I love to know the history of the people who like, 'cause, when you come into people's lives, and when they come into your life, you coming in like a long ass timeline. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? You ain't
Yeah.
that special. So it was so nice to really hear about Pat and the work that she did before I even got to know her. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
mm, mm,
Big up
mm.
Mama Pat. We love you.
We love you, Mama Pat. All right, what is on the agenda, honey?
It is time for a break.
Oh, yes, it is. It's time for a break. Oh, and we are so excited. We are so excited. Okay. All right. Patreon.com/ your gay aunties. We tell you to go there a lot.
Hmm.
And we appreciate everyone who gives and supports the Your Gay Aunties podcast. And
Yeah.
today we want to shout one of y'all out. All right, all right, all right, all right. Here's a shout. Shout out to look, I'm gonna use that horn.
Yeah.
Came with the program. No. This is a shout out to Evelise Vargas or Vargas. Evelise, if you're nasty. No, you probably like, nah, bitch, that ain't how my name said. Evelise. Thank you, Evelise, for your support on Auntie. Love every single bit of it goes to pay the bill, so we can literally come to you every
Yep.
week. And so we would sit back and thinking, it's like, listen, we know we're not the only ones. Needing those little bit of funds to kind of pay for the SoundCloud, pay for all the subscriptions we need to make things happen, right? So it's like, how can we as a podcast help our podcast community? So we came up with an idea called Keeping Your Auntie's Lights On, or something like that. Lights on.
Lights on.
It's
Yeah.
called Lights On, right? And all right, so this is how Lights On work. Starting today, we want you, to be able to stretch further, what you usually give, say, to your gay aunties or to maybe that podcast or that podcast. Are like, man, I only can give to one. We figured out a way where you can give to more than one with just one monthly contribution. So the campaign is a new tier. It's called Lights On. And every week on this podcast, your gay aunties, we will pick an independent queer podcast for the Lights On campaign. And then all four of those chosen for the month will just distribute whatever money is raised equally among us. Now, how will we pick that person, you may ask?
How?
Because we have our amazing spin the wheel thingy. All right?
I can be Vanna Black. Mm.
But I just realized something was muted. We're gonna back this up now. Oh God, this little thing. Here we going back. You didn't hear me, did you?
Yeah.
You did hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they heard me go over there and said I was muted.
Oh, I could hear you.
I'm gonna say it over just in case.
Okay.
All right. And so how are we going to do that? With our auntie spin the wheel. Auntie Michael
Yay!
spin the wheel. Yeah. And so basically, we got 3 podcasts on here that we love: Queer Walk Pod, Trauma Queen, and Marsha's Plate. And Trauma Queen is a new podcast that I discovered. It's a mental health podcast by Jamanikia. I'm so being white right now. I know I'm fucking your name up. Eborn, Miss Eborn's Trauma Queen. And of course, we love Marsha's Plate and Queer Walk Pod. So let's click and spin to see who's going to be a part of this month's Lights On.
Woo!
Who? Quiver. Woo! Yes, Lord. Yes. All right. So, what's what we're going to do? Um, so, like I said, I know this is a long ass break. I just want y'all to understand. I'm really excited about Lights On. So you can go to your gay aunties on Patreon, patreon.com/your gay aunties, and you'll see 2 tiers. One is your regular old gay aunties. That's us. Everything goes us. Thank you. We love all of your support. Thank you. And then there's another tier called Lights On, and Lights On will support more queer independent podcasts. And if you go to Instagram right now, there is a post there because we want to know who are your favorite podcasts. What's your favorite queer independent podcast? And we will check them out and then put them on the wheel.
Yeah.
Put them on the wheel.
Yay!
So that's what we're
Spread
doing.
love. It's the Brooklyn way.
Exactly. So that being said, just go to patreon.com/your gay aunties and support your queer podcast today.
Wonderful. So,
Yes.
we're so excited about all of the initiatives that we have. But I wanted to let you know that May, are we in May now?
Yeah.
I
Yes.
lose the days. So we're in May. May is all about couples.
Mm-hmm.
So we just wanted to highlight some of the things that are going on right now. We know that we are in the midst of the Rona. Maybe you are huddled in with your love, falling deeper in love because you have more time to be together.
Uh-huh.
Maybe you are huddled in love and you are trying to stay out of jail because you have more time to be together. May is also the start of wedding season. Were you planning a wedding that has been like derailed because of the lockdowns that are going on in the country? Maybe your guest list has to be shortened to 10 now because of what's going on with social distancing. Um,
And there's no gonna be no electric slide lines at the wedding.
no
No electric slide lines. Well, if
You just gonna have a nice, pretty photo shoot, just you and Bay, and just send out the pictures on Instagram. That's pretty much where it is at this point. Um, also, we wanted to talk about like because this is wedding season, like there is the other side of it. We've been in gay marriage, for a few years now.
mm-hmm.
And so there are many other experiences that have come about because of our ability to be legally married in the country. And so we want to talk about the pluses and the minuses, right? The good and the bad, good, bad, and ugly of gay marriage in the US in the LGBT plus community. So we're talking all about couples, what's going on with you in the Rona season.
Beautiful. So bring on those letters. And guess what? We got a letter.
We
Uh-huh.
got letter.
Here's your letter.
Letter. And so we have our letter from Shelly, who is I guess we'll call you a repeat letterer,
Oh.
a
Little some Shelly.
return guest. Yes, for Shelly. Shelly says, "Hello, you gay aunties. I've messaged y'all before. If you remember me, I'm Shelly. I asked you about trauma boundaries and having a healthy lesbian relationship. Thank you so much for answering that last email. Well, it's a few months later, and I finally found someone I absolutely adore. We've been,
Yay!
Shelly, we've been dating for 2 months, so perhaps this may be a little early to think of all this. So, a little bit of background information. We're both of Nigerian descent. She's
Mm-hmm.
Nigerian born and raised
Mm-hmm.
and came to Boston for college where we met. And I'm Nigerian American, born here and raised between here and Nigeria.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how much y'all know about Nigerians, but basically, Nigerians don't fuck with the gays. And that is something that weighs heavily on us. For me, I'm basically living a double life. When I'm in Boston, I have the freedom to be as gay as I please, but when I go home, I tuck it inside and I put up with my mom's nonsense about when am I going to get married. I'm 21. But she, on the other hand, isn't even at that point. There's only one person in her life that knows she's gay. And she tells me that she'll tell her friends in Boston about us. But I guess I'm worried that she won't be able to find the courage to do that, and I don't want to be her secret. But am I overthinking it? And I guess it also bothers me that I also can't show her off the way I want to, like on social media and stuff, because I would risk outing myself to my parents, who I technically don't need the financial support from anymore, but they want to pay for my med school and I don't want loans. I would risk outing her to her friends and family by I don't know.
Jesus Christ.
I know that was a ramble, and I don't know if that made any sense, but please try to give me some insight like you did last time. Shelly.
No, we ain't laughing at you, Shelly. We ain't laughing at you. Um, I started to feel real claustrophobic as you kept reading. I felt like their world is getting closer and closer and closer, to like not giving them room to breathe because they're both in two different degree or just they're both not out essentially.
Yeah.
And this is the claustrophobia that not being out offers. It doesn't really offer anything positive. So we can sit here and talk about. I mean, listen, if you're listening to the show, then we've had these kinds of questions as far as people's varying degrees of coming out and how they're going to come out.
Mm-hmm.
The thing that stands out number one is your investment in this relationship in the context of not being out. I'm talking to the both of you, and you're 21.
Mm.
You asked if you're thinking about it too much. I think it does deserve thought, but it's more about you thinking about you coming out, and don't worry about what your partner doing right now, because you can't help her because you have not yet helped yourself. And this is not to like get on you like you better come out to your mama. Listen, I'm not Nigerian, but I have Nigerian friends and I understand, but I also have queer Nigerian friends. So
Yeah.
all right, now maybe if I knew about this question, I could have called a couple of them up and they would ask how the hell they came out to their parents, But at the end of the day, you're going to have to. We can't tell you how to,
Yeah.
but also understand 21 is still young. Don't feel that 21 because somebody gave you a card to say you're grown that, oh, I'm supposed to have my shit together and I'm supposed to, be out to my parents and that's just like, elementary stuff, so that should be done, right? No, not necessarily. You and your partner have more work to do with yourselves.
Yeah.
Now, the thing is, I'll say this and pass it to Red, is you're split between having to do for yourselves and having to support each other. So this is the balance I think you need to find. well, that you have to deal with it. Now you got to find actually how you're going to balance it, but you have to deal with that the fact you're both out. You're not out, you know, but you're also trying to support each other. So for me, that's canceling each other out. I don't know what you think, Red.
Yeah, so I think one of the questions I was having, like, if you're still in school, are y'all both at home right now?
Well, she says her parents. I think she said her parents don't support her. They just support her. Well, they support her in the sense of med school. So yes, your parents do support you because yeah, if your parents
Yeah.
paying for anything in your life, they're supporting you. You know what I mean? That means without that support, you ain't doing that thing, right?
Well, yeah, so like that's a couple of things to consider. So one, and I was asking because like a lot of students are back at their parents' houses right now. So that
Oh
gives a
yes.
different layer of context to it. Like, are you all separated right now? You're at your parents' house? Are you still in Boston in your apartments? Like, those are different scenario that kind of feed into where this goes. I think if you're at your parents, when you in your parents' house, you live by your parents' rules, right? Um, I mean, in some way, like because especially where you are, like you don't want to just create a negative situation unnecessarily, right? Um, if you're in Boston and you're still like relatively like on your own, then that's a different setup, right? So even though you have, they're willing to pay for your med school, like you're kind of like in your own space, in your like my house, my rules type of deal, right? And you can kind of, just flex a little more. I think though, like the conversations that we're having about identity based on like nationality is similar to the one that we have on identity based on religion, right? This is a cultural conversation that we're having according to the concept of homosexuality in Nigeria. There are fears that are attached. There is pride that's attached. There is a concept about what's going to happen to you socially, right? There's the honor, all of those things still play a part in why parents have a problem with their children being gay, right? Getting to kind of talk about that, like taking it off of like you being gay and more so like parents, what's going on? Why are you so afraid of this, right? And having them kind of take some of that ownership for where they are and why they're there, mentally about it, because I feel like from the letter that your parents know that you're gay, but they're kind of trying to swoosh you away from it. Like, okay, well, when you gonna get married? Like, when you gonna be done with that? Like, I know that's a phase. When you gonna be done with the phase, right?
She
So,
did. She's out to her parents. I didn't get that from the letter.
for me, basically, I'm living a double life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and when I go home, I tuck it inside and put up with my mom's nonsense. So maybe you didn't.
Okay.
And maybe your mother is just thinking that you might be a little lagging on the developmental scale, right? If she hasn't seen you with a boyfriend, she hasn't, all of those things that her girlfriend's daughters are doing right around this time. Maybe she's a little worried. So you can help her out. She doesn't have to be worried if she knows that you're gay. You tell her you have a girlfriend. Yay, mom.
I know, Shelly, bitch. I can't come out now, right? So, no, aunties, no, I can't come out right now. I got to pay for med school, bitches. Listen, so here's a game plan. Cause
Okay.
unlike your mama, we as your aunties feel that 21 is entirely too young to think seriously about any motherfucker about it. You know what I'm saying? So I think maybe a way to not avoid, but to push on the things that is also an issue with your mom in regards to her trying to get you out the door and married up under some husband or something, because in her head, maybe that's a sense of security. I don't know. Like Red said, culturally, it's a sense of security. But I had written down, so maybe approach her like, Ma, I need you to stop being on me about getting a husband. What I'm thinking about right now is getting through med school, which thank you for your check. I really appreciate that. That's what I don't want to waste your money.
Like,
Let me focus on this here med school. Oh, hi.
Okay.
Okay. Now, if it doesn't sound like you're living with your mom, so that you may be living with your girlfriend or your roommate. I'm sure that's what your mom thinks the bitch is. You know what I'm saying? But and what I'm saying is that you don't have to come out. If you're not ready, your only job is to get ready. But you don't have to rush to come out, and neither does your girlfriend. So if your girl, like back to what Red was saying, if you two are living alone together, you need to take this time, tick tock, tick tock, to figure out how you are going to support each other in coming out. Period. Period. Now, if you're living with your family, then you need to again still push back and have some sort of anonymity. Have your agency in your space and who you are. Though you can't fully say, "Mommy, I'm gay," and say, "Mommy, stop coming with me on this husband shit. I'm trying to do this medical shit right here." You know, and get her and say, "Mommy, it's a generational thing. It's like I can get married when I'm ready. I don't need to get married in my 20s. I don't." You can even say, "I don't feel like I want to get married." You don't got to say a man. I don't want to get married young because it's things I want to achieve. Now, this may, depending on how traditional she is, this may become a whole other conversation, but it still is a necessary conversation because you need to let her start to let go of you and controlling your life just on a mother GP and defaulting to her, cultural lean-ins. You ain't married by 22, that bullshit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So tackle what you can tackle now. If you generally feel like you cannot come out to your parents and you may be living under their roof or are dependent on them, you got to prioritize. And we know we are not here about shaming anybody who doesn't come out to their family when maybe the rest of the world may urge you to do so. All right, that medical degree, and even when you come out to her down the road, when you adopted and shit, what she gonna do? What she gonna do? Her daughter's a doctor. That's every Nigerian dream. My daughter's a doctor. Okay,
That's kind of true.
Gay? Shit, nigga. My daughter's a doctor.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really, I want to say, that's a strategy if you want to take it, if you're on the daring, but that's how you can kind of tiptoe into this and not feel so pressured, both of you, to come out to your parents. But you're going to have to do it because then you're lying to each other as a couple. If you're not out as a couple, that will always be your weak link. It'll always be your weak link. You'll never be able to truly prosper. I know that's fucked up, but I'm sorry. It's the truth. You won't prosper. You got to come out. You got to come out.
Before then, though, it's only been 2 months.
Oh, wait. They only been together 2 months?
It's only been 2 months.
They only been together 2 months. I'm saying way
So
too much for 2
enjoy
months.
being in the cocoon. Like, you don't even need to show nobody off at 2 months. You need to be in the cocoon. You need to learn each other. You need to figure out, like, if this is a thing or not, right? You really need to spend that time, like, just sheltered and, like, growing yourself, like growing the connection that you have between the two of you. Like, you're 21, it's been 2 months, like, really just pump the brake just a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
baby.
really enjoy. Everybody doesn't have to know yet. Like, you're not even at the everybody needs to know phase. Like, let them know, like, when y'all announce your engagement in 8 months, right?
I know, right? Don't do it! Don't do it! Don't do it! Don't do it!
But really, like, take this time now. Like, you don't have to be out right now. You don't have to be, like, on Instagram yet. And if you really need that, because I do know, there are people who need that. Like, it's a validation thing. It's a, it's the sign of the time that we're in, right? Once Instagram real, then it's really real, right? Curate your page. Make it a safe space. Make your page private. And be out. Like, that's, you can really do, like, if you just really need that, make sure that she understands that this is what I've done to protect us.
You better go.
Like, I've gone through the page. Every person on here is a safe space for us. This is the setup. We can be free in this digital space that I've created. right? And then have at it. It's not.
Exactly. I think that's a good idea. Because it can feed that need to want to say, here's my girl. You know, even if you're talking to two people,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? You still need that, here's my girl. You know what I mean?
And if you're on Facebook, you can set it up where it's a post that only these particular people can see. And then you and your friends who know you all again, y'all can have a good old time on that platform, kikiing and talking about that picture that only the 10 of y'all can see.
Exactly. And they can't share it anywhere because it's a private account. So that I think that's solid
Mm-hmm.
to feed that that need. But Shelly, I'm just I really missed the 2 month bit. I said too much for 2 months. Okay, so I'm going to reiterate and highlight that you too need to focus on yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got a lot of stuff you need to deal with your individual families, okay? So that you can have your personal and individual freedom, so that you are free to truly come together. Because right now, you're about as together as an online person. You know what I'm saying? Online relationship, I mean. You're about as together as a swipe right. And I'm going to keep it real and raw for you. You know what I mean? Because unless you are able to fully, you don't have your baseline freedom. If you're not free to at least have a queer community that you're a part of, and you're out in fully, and if you're not out to your parents or at least somebody in your family, because we can't dismiss family. Somebody in the bloodline got to have your back, even if all else fails. And if that's not the case, at least you fucking know. Deal with
Yeah.
the grief and still live in your purpose. You know what I mean? But
Mm.
the YouTube trying to act like this is a relationship that is worth fighting and investing in, and you haven't made the investment in yourselves yet. And this is again, Auntie Nefa like to come with the real. I ain't trying to, call not on the coming out things, because coming out is so important, and you don't even realize how important it is until you're actually out. You can theorize and imagine how important it will be in your life, but you will not understand it viscerally until you actually come out. And all we're saying here is that is a process, and that we urge you to take that process slow, especially if you're in families that are highly religious, or the cultural set is like, nah, bitch, nah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's where I'm at with it. Is anything else in that letter that we might
Um.
have missed? I want to make sure we got you, Shelly, with your 2 months relationship.
Nope, that's it. They have their Nigerian backgrounds. They have their freedom in Boston. It's
Mm-hmm.
been 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, maybe if you have time in Boston, you all, both took your temperature, you're negative. Like you can set up some outings and things so that maybe when you hit your 1 year mark, you can do like this was our year, right? When you come out, put together a little photo album for yourselves and just, just have some memories. Enjoy this time. And
Enjoy this, and I want to just highlight enjoying this time, and what that really means, or one of the things it means, is that though you feel the urge that you must come out again, if you are not ready, you will not enjoy this time. Because what will happen is you will come out, you both get kicked out on your fucking asses, then you wind up shucking up with each other. All right, that will not be a good time.
mm,
We have said in maybe a couple of other episodes, but we want to highlight it and reiterate this bit of auntie advice for everybody. And in any situation where you go to live with a lover under duress, or you
yeah.
go to live with a lover because shit is hard elsewhere, or you go to live with a lover just because your family kicked you out. No, when your family hits you in the face with some bullshit, don't move in with a lover.
Mm,
I don't give a fuck. Move in with friends, new friends, expand your community, but don't shrink it to your lover and you both stressed out because you got dissed by your family.
yeah. I
If you
agree with that.
if you care
Tried
about
that
the
once.
relationship, yeah. If you care about the relationship, don't move in with your lover. Okay?
Good
At 2 months.
job.
Sorry. Oh my gosh. I think we're kind of early. We're at 45 minutes, and it's like, we're trying this new timing thing, guys. We're trying to get our timing
Mm.
right. Show usually goes about an hour. We have, new features we're working out. And like, I stopped myself earlier. I was like, I don't want to talk too long. It's like, so there's a lot of things to think about with this you gay auntie shit. You know what I'm saying?
Fact.
but one of the things that freedoms that we have is that we can have a shorter show because
Yeah.
bitch.
Well, before we go, I do want to implore my babies.
Ooh. What?
We love your letters.
Mm-hmm.
We need your letters. Your letters
Mm-hmm.
is why we're here. It's what makes the show run. So take some time while you're at home on your coronacation and just think about what's going on in my life right now.
Oh, the
What can I
couples.
ask my aunties about?
Mm-hmm.
Go to yourgayaunties@gmail.com and send us a letter so that we can answer it and keep the show running and keep you entertained and engaged. We would love to do. Okay. Send us a,
Yes.
you can also, maybe you like Auntie Red. I'm not the writing type. Okay. Go to your gay aunties at Gmail. I mean at Gmail, at Instagram. Go to your gay aunties on Instagram. Click the link in the bio. On that link, you'll see Speak Your Truth. Click on that. It will give you 90 seconds to talk to your aunties and tell us what is on your mind. What are you going through? Our theme for the month for May is relationships. We're focusing on coupledom, right? So, what's going on with you? What is your couple situation? What would you like us to reflect on? And
Mm-hmm.
just help you along the way, right? We are here to give that good seasoned auntie advice. We don't judge. And if you like, we will play your clip on the show and make sure that you are properly shouted out. We have so many of our guests who listen to the show and send us little notes different places. If you want us to play your review of an episode of the show that you really enjoyed. Now, if you didn't really enjoy it, just tell me personally. You don't have to put that on there. Okay? So, just tell me. Just
You
tell
can
me.
keep critiques to the DMs. Keep critiques to the DMs.
Right, right. But if there's something that you want to share with our listeners, with everyone out there, go ahead, speak your truth, give it to us so that we can share it on the show.
Beautiful. And if you are doing anything out there, everyone's doing things online. We definitely want to support you guys and the events you're holding online. So if you want us to announce your show, event, workshop, whatever you're doing online that people can access, and that is, well, it don't have to be free. That's not wrong. Just some good stuff out there that can help our queer family, our black family, just our family, people. Let
Mhm.
us know. DM us on Instagram or Twitter, and we'll mention it on the show.
Yes.
And with that being said,
Wait. Before we
what?
go, I do have one little shout out that I want to give.
Who?
Um, so last night I was invited to a murder mystery birthday party
Oh,
via
that's
Zoom.
now okay. People getting inventive with the birthday parties.
Yes. So
Okay, how'd
it
it
was
go?
a
How'd it go?
murder mystery theater
I,
birthday party.
I love
It
it.
was put together by our sister Tyra Shelley for Onyx Keisha, who is one of the
Yes,
yes
one of our.
Atlanta, Jersey like creatives in our community. It was absolutely lovely. Like there was a huge cast of characters that popped in. Everybody had like questions to like push the story further along and like get to the who done it. It was so
Oh
fun.
my
And
God, I would
just
love to
shout
be a
out
part. Shit,
Tyra.
is this gonna be another thing or no?
Well, no, this was last night for as a birthday party, but I'm going to talk to Tyra about how much fun I had and how just amazing of an idea it was. It was great because you're looking at all of the faces, right, on the
Yes.
Zoom call, so you don't know who
Yes.
killer, right?
Yes. Yes.
So it
Yes.
was it was so fun. It was really good. Thank you all so much for inviting me.
Oh man, that sounds super duper fun. And so was this
Yes.
episode. This episode was super duper fun as always, my friend Red. So with that being said, oops, see how I rhymed every red and said, everybody watching that. I am Hanifa Walida,
And I am Red Summer.
and we are your gay aunties. All right, y'all.
Bye.
Deuces. See y'all on Wednesday. We're ready to see y'all on Wednesday on Twitter now. Know what I'm saying? Deuces.